Imagine, if you will, a life where every trial, every closed door, and every restless moment is not a sign of failure, but a divine signal guiding you toward your destiny. You are not here by accident. Nothing that happens to you is by chance. Everything you experience, every feeling of discomfort, every challenge is a part of a grand design that leads you to your greatest blessing. This journey you are on is not random. It is an unfolding of divine intention, a blueprint set into motion the moment you dare to believe that life holds something more for you. Have you ever felt like your life is shifting in ways that are difficult to understand? Perhaps you're experiencing unusual challenges, or you feel disconnected from the people and places that once gave you comfort. This, my friends, might be a sign that God is preparing you for something greater, something beyond your imagination, a divine blessing that requires growth, refinement, and faith. As you stand on the threshold of this awareness, realize that the universe is always conspiring in your favor. It closes doors, stirs discomfort, and places obstacles in your path, not to break you, but to prepare you for what is already yours. The signs are all around you, whispering of the greater purpose that awaits. This is not the time to retreat. This is the moment to recognize that you are being prepared for something far beyond what you can see, a blessing so profound it will reshape your entire existence. Trust the process. Your divine manifestation is near. Life can often feel like an unpredictable journey, full of ups and downs, twists and turns. In moments when the weight of challenges seems unbearable, it's easy to wonder why things are happening the way they are. You might feel overwhelmed by the obstacles in your path, and it can seem like nothing is going right. But what if these challenges are not just random occurrences, not just difficulties meant to test your patience, but rather a sign that God is preparing you for something greater? What if these obstacles are paving the way for a profound blessing, one that you cannot yet see or understand? When we think of blessings, we often picture them as immediate, positive experiences, an unexpected gift, a promotion at work, or the arrival of something we've long desired. We expect blessings to be easy and obvious. However, more often than not, blessings are preceded by challenges that test our faith, our strength, and our endurance. These challenges are not meant to break us, but to shape us into the person we need to become in order to handle the blessing when it arrives. It's as if God is preparing us, refining us through adversity, so we can fully embrace the gift that's on its way. Increased challenges can come in many forms: personal struggles, financial difficulties, emotional upheavals, strained relationships, or even a sense of spiritual emptiness. At first glance, these obstacles might appear as setbacks, hindering your progress and pulling you away from your goals. You might question why these things are happening to you, especially if you feel like you've been doing everything right. Why would God allow you to go through such difficult times if a blessing is supposed to be on the horizon? The answer lies in understanding the nature of preparation. Think about the process of refining precious metals like gold. The metal must first go through intense heat and pressure to remove impurities. Only after this process is complete does the gold emerge pure and valuable. Similarly, when God is preparing you for a blessing, He allows you to go through situations that test your limits, forcing you to grow stronger and more resilient. It's in these moments of trial that your true character is revealed, and you begin to understand what you are capable of. When challenges arise, the natural response is often to resist them or to seek a way out. We want quick fixes, easy solutions, and immediate relief. But what if the very thing you are praying to escape is the tool God is using to prepare you for the next chapter of your life? It's through these challenges that you are taught perseverance, patience, and trust. Each obstacle serves a purpose, pushing you to rely more on God's strength and less on your own understanding. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible. As a young man, Joseph was favored by his father, but despised by his brothers, who sold him into slavery. He faced one challenge after another: betrayal, false accusations, imprisonment, yet all of these obstacles were part of God's plan to prepare him for a blessing far greater than he could have imagined. Through these hardships, Joseph learned humility, wisdom, and leadership, qualities that would serve him well when he eventually became second in command in Egypt. The very challenges that seemed like setbacks were, in fact, stepping stones toward his destiny. Similarly, when you face difficulties, it's essential to recognize that God is not punishing you but preparing you. The challenges you encounter are not meant to discourage or defeat you but to strengthen your faith. They are opportunities for growth, allowing you to develop the qualities you will need when the blessing finally arrives. Without these challenges, you might not be ready to receive the full magnitude of what God has in store. One of the most powerful lessons that comes from facing obstacles is learning to trust in God's timing. Often we have our own plans and timelines for how we want our lives to unfold. We pray for certain outcomes and expect them to happen immediately. But God's ways are not our ways, and His timing is perfect, even if it doesn't align with our expectations. When challenges arise, they often force us to relinquish control and surrender to God's plan. This act of surrender is not a sign of weakness but of faith. It's an acknowledgement that we trust God to work things out, even when we don't understand the path we are on. Another important aspect of overcoming challenges is the way they teach us empathy and compassion. When you've walked through difficult times, you gain a deeper understanding of the struggles others face. This understanding allows you to connect with people on a more profound level, offering support and encouragement to those who may be going through similar situations. In this way, the challenges you face not only prepare you for your own blessings, but also equip you to be a blessing to others. It's also worth noting that challenges often bring clarity. In the midst of struggle, we are forced to reevaluate our priorities, our goals, and even our relationships. What once seemed important may no longer hold the same value, and what we once overlooked may become the focal point of our lives. This process of reprioritizing is part of God's preparation. He removes distractions and refines our focus so that we are aligned with His purpose for our lives. Sometimes, the very challenge we face is the catalyst for a breakthrough, guiding us toward the direction we were always meant to go. When you look at your life and see an increase in challenges, remember that this may be a sign that God is preparing you for something greater. Just as a seed must push through the dirt and darkness before it can sprout into the light, you too must endure the struggles that precede your breakthrough. The process may be difficult, and at times you may feel like giving up. But know that God is with you in every step, guiding you through the storm and strengthening you for the blessing that is on the other side. So instead of viewing your challenges as insurmountable obstacles, begin to see them as opportunities for growth. Each difficulty is a piece of the larger puzzle, a necessary part of the preparation that will lead to the blessing God has designed specifically for you. Stay faithful, stay patient, and keep your eyes on the promise that God's plan for your life is far greater than anything you can imagine. The blessing is coming, and when it arrives, you will be ready to receive it in all its fullness. Letting go of the past can be one of the most difficult and emotional experiences we face. The memories, relationships, and experiences we carry often feel like an integral part of who we are. They define our story, shape our identity, and give meaning to where we've been. Yet when God is preparing you for a new blessing, one of the clearest signs is the gentle and sometimes painful nudge to release the things of the past that no longer serve you. The very act of letting go can be a deeply spiritual experience, one that requires faith, courage, and trust in God's plan. There are moments in life when holding on to the past seems comforting, as though it provides stability in a world that is constantly changing. We cling to old relationships, habits, and memories because they represent familiarity, and letting go feels like stepping into the unknown. But what we often don't realize is that by holding on too tightly, we might be blocking the new blessings that God is trying to bring into our lives. The things we refuse to release can become stumbling blocks, preventing us from moving forward into the future that God has prepared. When God calls us to let go of the past, it's not because He wants to take something away from us, but because He wants to make room for something greater. The process of letting go is not just about losing something, it's about creating space for the new and the better. God knows what lies ahead, and sometimes the very things we're holding on to are not compatible with the new chapter He is writing for us. Whether it's an old relationship, a job, a mindset, or even a version of ourselves, holding on can keep us stuck in a place of stagnation, unable to embrace the transformation God is bringing. Consider the story of the Israelites in the Bible. After being freed from slavery in Egypt, they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years before entering the Promised Land. During this time, many of them longed to return to Egypt, where, despite the harsh conditions, they felt a sense of familiarity and security. They were clinging to the past, unable to fully trust God's promise of a land flowing with milk and honey. God had a blessing prepared for them, but it required them to let go of the comfort of the known and step into the unknown with faith. This is the same journey many of us face when we are called to release our past. The process of letting go often begins with a stirring in your spirit. You may start to feel a sense of discomfort or dissatisfaction with things that once brought you joy. What once seemed fulfilling no longer satisfies. This is God's way of telling you that it's time to move on. He is nudging you toward growth, toward a new season. But that growth can't happen if you're still holding on to the things of old. The past may have served a purpose for a time, but there comes a moment when it becomes a hindrance rather than a help. One of the most challenging aspects of letting go is that it often involves relationships, whether romantic, friendships, or even family ties. We invest so much of ourselves in the people around us that releasing these bonds can feel like tearing away a part of our identity. However, not every relationship is meant to last forever. Some people are placed in our lives for a season, to teach us lessons, to help us grow, or to provide companionship during a particular time. When that season is over, holding on to the relationship can prevent both you and the other person from moving forward into the new things God has planned. Letting go of relationships doesn't mean that the time spent with those individuals was wasted or meaningless. Every connection serves a purpose, and even relationships that end painfully can teach us valuable lessons about ourselves and others. But there comes a point when we must trust that God knows who and what belongs in the next chapter of our lives. Holding on to relationships that no longer align with our growth can create emotional and spiritual baggage that weighs us down. By releasing them, we free ourselves and allow God to bring the right people into our lives at the right time. The same principle applies to other aspects of our lives, such as careers, dreams, or personal ambitions. Sometimes we cling to an old job or career path because it feels secure, even though it no longer aligns with our purpose or passion. Other times we hold on to old dreams that no longer resonate with who we have become. We may be afraid of failure or of stepping into something new, so we keep ourselves anchored to the past, even if it no longer serves us. But God's plans for us are dynamic and evolving. He may be calling us to a new career, a new dream, or a new direction, but we can't embrace it until we let go of what we thought our life should look like. Letting go of the past also involves releasing the version of ourselves that we once were. As we grow and evolve, we often hold on to outdated ideas about who we are and what we're capable of. We may define ourselves by past mistakes, failures, or limitations, believing that we can never change or move beyond them. But God's grace is transformative. He sees beyond our past and calls us into our potential. When we hold on to an old self-image, we limit what God can do in our lives. Letting go means embracing the person we are becoming, trusting that God is molding us into someone capable of receiving the blessings He has in store. Another area where letting go is crucial is in releasing the pain and trauma of past experiences. Many of us carry wounds from the past, hurtful words, broken relationships, failures, or losses that weigh heavily on our hearts. These wounds can become chains that hold us back, keeping us stuck in a cycle of pain and resentment. God's desire is for us to be healed and whole, but that healing can only begin when we are willing to release the hurt. Forgiving others and ourselves is a vital step in the process of letting go. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing the wrongs done to us. It means choosing to free ourselves from the grip of bitterness and allowing God to heal our hearts. When we hold on to past pain, we are often afraid of being vulnerable again. We build walls around our hearts, believing that by doing so, we protect ourselves from future hurt. But these walls not only keep out the pain, they also keep out the blessings. God wants to pour love, joy, and peace into our lives, but we must first be willing to tear down the walls we've built in trust, that He will guard our hearts. Letting go of past hurts allows us to experience the fullness of God's blessings in ways we never thought possible. Ultimately, letting go of the past is an act of faith. It requires trusting that God's plan for our lives is better than anything we could have imagined. It means believing that He will replace what we release with something far greater, something that aligns with His purpose for us. It's not an easy process. Letting go can be painful, and the uncertainty of the future can be frightening. But when we surrender our past to God, we open ourselves up to a future filled with possibility, hope, and blessings beyond measure. God never asks us to let go of something without offering us something better in return. The past, no matter how significant or difficult, is just one part of our journey. When we trust God and release what no longer serves us, we make room for the new things He is doing in our lives. So when you feel the call to let go, embrace it. Know that God is preparing you for something greater, and the blessings that await are far beyond anything you could have imagined. In life, there are moments when we encounter people or opportunities that seem almost too perfectly aligned with our needs or aspirations. These encounters often come at times when we least expect them, but need them most. They provide support, guidance, or a path forward that feels divinely orchestrated. This is what is often referred to as divine connections. When God is preparing you for a blessing, one of the clearest signs is the sudden appearance of these divine connections and resources in your life, aligning everything in such a way that it's almost impossible to deny that something greater is at work. Divine connections aren't just random events or coincidences. They are a result of God working behind the scenes, bringing people, opportunities, and resources into your life to support the path He has laid out for you. These connections often feel like answers to prayers, even prayers you may not have voiced aloud. The people you meet, the doors that open, and the resources that come into your life are all part of God's greater plan to prepare you for the blessings He has in store. One of the most significant aspects of divine connections is that they often come at pivotal moments in your life. You may be at a crossroads, unsure of which direction to take. Perhaps you've been praying for guidance, clarity, or a breakthrough, and suddenly someone enters your life who offers just what you need. It could be a mentor who provides wisdom, a friend who offers emotional support, or a professional connection that leads to a career opportunity. In each case, the connection feels like a piece of a puzzle falling into place, helping to propel you toward the next phase of your journey. These divine connections are not always grand or dramatic sometimes. They are subtle, almost unnoticeable at first. You might meet someone in a casual setting and only later realize the profound impact they will have on your life. Other times, a chance encounter may lead to a chain of events that completely shifts the trajectory of your life. These moments remind us that God's timing is perfect, and even when things seem random or insignificant, there is often a bigger plan at play. One of the keys to recognizing divine connections is being open and receptive to the people and opportunities God places in your path. Sometimes we are so focused on our current circumstances or our own plans that we fail to see the doors God is opening. We might overlook a person or opportunity because it doesn't fit into the vision we have for our lives, but God often works in ways we can't predict. The connections He brings may not always look like what we expected, but they are always what we need. Being open to these moments allows us to fully embrace the blessings that come through them. Divine connections also often come with a sense of peace and alignment. When you meet someone or encounter an opportunity that is divinely orchestrated, there is a feeling that everything is falling into place as it should. It feels right, even if it doesn't make perfect sense in the moment. There is a calm assurance that this person or opportunity is meant to be part of your journey. This sense of peace is one of the ways God confirms that He is at work, guiding you toward your blessing. Another important aspect of divine connections is that they are often mutually beneficial. When God brings someone into your life as part of His plan, it's not just for your benefit, but for theirs as well. Divine connections are reciprocal. Both parties are blessed through the relationship. You may be the answer to someone else's prayers, just as they are to yours. This mutual blessing is a reflection of God's abundant love and provision, showing that He cares not only for your needs, but for the needs of others as well. In addition to people, God also provides divine resources when He is preparing you for a blessing. These resources can come in many forms: financial provision, opportunities, skills, or even knowledge and wisdom. Just as with divine connections, these resources often appear at the perfect moment, giving you exactly what you need to move forward. You may have been struggling with a lack of resources for a long time, and then suddenly the doors open and the resources you need flow into your life in ways you never expected. Sometimes these resources come through the people God connects you with. For example, you might meet someone who offers you a job, connects you to a business opportunity, or provides you with financial support. Other times, the resources come in the form of knowledge or skills that equip you to step into the new season God is preparing for you. This might mean enrolling in a course, gaining a new certification, or even receiving mentorship in a particular area of your life. These resources are God's way of preparing you for the blessings ahead, ensuring that you are equipped to handle what He is about to give you. Divine resources are not always material. Sometimes the resources God provides are internal, such as strength, courage, resilience, or faith. When God is preparing you for a blessing, He often gives you the inner resources you need to navigate the journey. He strengthens your faith, deepens your trust in Him, and builds your character so that you are ready to receive and steward the blessings He is about to bring into your life. These internal resources are just as important, if not more so, than the external ones, because they lay the foundation for long-lasting success and fulfillment. When God is preparing you for a blessing, He also often calls you to step out in faith, trusting that the connections and resources you need will be provided. This requires letting go of control and surrendering to His plan, even when you can't see the whole picture. You may not always understand how everything will come together, but faith is about trusting that God will provide what you need when you need it. Divine connections and resources are God's way of showing you that He is faithful to His promises and that He will not leave you lacking. As you step into this new season of blessing, it's important to remember that divine connections and resources are part of a larger purpose. They are not just about personal gain, but about fulfilling God's plan for your life and often the lives of others. When God blesses you, He often does so in a way that allows you to bless others. The connections and resources He provides are not just for your benefit, they are tools to help you fulfill the calling He has placed on your life. Whether that calling is to serve others, create something new, or simply be a light in the world, the connections and resources you receive are part of that mission. Divine connections and resources are a testament to God's faithfulness and provision. They remind us that we are not walking this journey alone, that God is with us every step of the way, guiding us, providing for us, and preparing us for the blessings He has in store. When you encounter these connections and resources, take them as a sign that God is at work in your life, setting the stage for the next chapter. Embrace them with gratitude, trust in His timing, and know that the blessings He has prepared for you are beyond anything you could imagine. A heightened sense of faith and trust is one of the most profound indicators that God is preparing you for a blessing. As you navigate life's journey, particularly during times of uncertainty or challenge, there comes a point when you feel an inner pull to trust something greater than yourself. This shift is not simply about believing in a higher power or acknowledging the existence of God. It's about deeply sensing that you are being guided, that the things happening around you are part of a divine plan, and that no matter what, you are being prepared for something bigger and better. Faith and trust are often cultivated in the crucible of adversity. It's during those times when life feels unpredictable, or when things seem to be falling apart, that you learn to surrender control. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of a deeper recognition that there are forces at work beyond what you can see or understand. In the face of challenges, you might begin to sense that God is doing something behind the scenes, aligning situations, removing obstacles, or even closing doors for reasons you can't yet grasp. Your heightened sense of faith grows stronger in these moments as you come to understand that even setbacks can be stepping stones to something greater. As your faith deepens, you begin to shift from asking why certain things happen to trusting that they are part of a grander design. It becomes easier to let go of the need to have all the answers and to control every aspect of your life. This surrender doesn't mean passivity. Instead, it is an active, conscious decision to trust God's plan over your own. You stop fighting against what's happening and start flowing with it, knowing that the challenges, delays, or detours are all part of God's preparation process. A heightened sense of faith is often accompanied by a shift in perspective. You start to see life through a spiritual lens, understanding that what is happening in the physical realm is often a reflection of what is happening in the spiritual realm. You recognize that delays, disappointments, or even losses may be clearing the way for something better. Instead of becoming discouraged, your faith allows you to stay hopeful, even in the face of adversity. You understand that just because you can't see the blessing right now doesn't mean it's not coming. In fact, this trust is what carries you through the waiting period, sustaining you when things seem bleak or uncertain. This sense of trust is a powerful force that changes how you approach life. When you feel that God is preparing you for a blessing, you no longer react to situations out of fear or anxiety. Instead, you respond from a place of faith, knowing that everything is working together for your good. This doesn't mean that doubts won't arise or that you won't feel frustrated at times, but even in those moments, there is a deeper, underlying belief that God is in control. You may face financial hardships, relationship struggles, or career uncertainties, but your faith acts as an anchor, grounding you in the truth that God's plan is unfolding perfectly, even when you can't see it. One of the beautiful aspects of a heightened sense of faith and trust is that it transforms how you view challenges. Instead of seeing obstacles as problems, you begin to view them as opportunities for growth and transformation. You understand that God often uses difficult circumstances to refine you, to build your character, and to prepare you for the blessing that is coming. Challenges become a training ground for your faith, teaching you perseverance, patience, and the ability to trust in God's timing. You may find yourself praying more, seeking spiritual guidance, and developing a deeper connection with God as a result of the trials you face. As your faith grows, so does your ability to discern God's voice in your life. You start to recognize His guidance in subtle ways, whether it's through a sense of peace about a decision, an unexpected opportunity, or even a feeling of discomfort that pushes you in a new direction. Faith opens your heart and mind to God's leading, making you more attuned to the signs and nudges He places in your path. You may find that your intuition becomes sharper, that you can more easily distinguish between what is meant for you and what is not, and that you feel a deeper sense of alignment with your purpose. In this state of heightened faith and trust, you also become more comfortable with uncertainty. You realize that not knowing the future or having all the details figured out is not a reason to fear, but a reason to trust. You understand that God doesn't reveal everything at once, because part of the blessing is in the journey itself. The waiting, the wondering, and even the struggles are all part of the preparation process. Each step, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, is bringing you closer to the blessing that God has in store. Furthermore, a heightened sense of faith and trust can lead to a deep sense of peace. This peace is not dependent on external circumstances, but comes from within. It is the peace that surpasses all understanding, the kind that remains steadfast even when everything around you feels uncertain. You know that no matter what happens, God is in control. And that knowledge brings an inner calm that nothing in the world can shake. You begin to live with a sense of expectancy, knowing that God's promises are true and that His timing is perfect. This peace also extends to how you interact with others. When your faith is strong, you are less likely to be swayed by negative influences or toxic relationships. You become more discerning about who you allow into your life, recognizing that not everyone is meant to be part of your journey. You trust that God will bring the right people into your life at the right time, and that He will remove those who no longer serve your growth or purpose. This trust allows you to let go of relationships that are holding you back, knowing that God is preparing something better for you. As your faith and trust deepen, you also become more aware of how God provides for you in ways that may not always be immediately visible. You start to see blessings in the little things, in the kindness of a stranger, in an unexpected opportunity, or in a moment of clarity. These small blessings are reminders that God is always at work, even in the details of your life. They reinforce your trust in Him, helping you to remain hopeful and patient as you wait for the bigger blessings to unfold. A heightened sense of faith and trust is one of the clearest signs that God is preparing you for a blessing. It allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace, to remain hopeful in the face of uncertainty, and to trust that everything is working together for your good. This trust transforms how you view obstacles, making them opportunities for growth and preparation. It deepens your relationship with God, sharpens your discernment, and brings a sense of peace that anchors you through life's storms. Ultimately, this heightened faith is a gift from God, a reminder that He is always with you, guiding you toward the blessings He has promised. When doors start closing in unexpected places, it can often feel disheartening or confusing, especially when those doors represent opportunities or paths that seem promising. However, this experience is a clear and significant sign that God is preparing you for a blessing. While at first glance it may seem like a setback or rejection, the closing of certain doors is actually a form of divine redirection, a way for God to protect you from paths that are not meant for you and to guide you toward opportunities that are more aligned with His purpose for your life. When a door closes unexpectedly, the initial reaction is often frustration or disappointment. You might question why something that seemed to be going well has suddenly come to an end. Whether it's a job opportunity that falls through, a relationship that ends, or a project that stalls, it's natural to feel a sense of loss. You might have invested time, energy, and hope into these endeavors, and when they don't work out, it's easy to become discouraged. But in these moments, it's important to remember that every closed door is not a failure, but rather a part of God's greater plan. God closes doors for several reasons. Sometimes the path you are on is not in alignment with His will for your life. While it may look appealing or promising in the short term, God sees the bigger picture. He knows what is ahead, both the blessings and the potential pitfalls. By closing certain doors, He is preventing you from walking into situations that could be harmful, draining, or simply not part of your purpose. In His wisdom, God redirects you away from these paths so that you can stay focused on the journey that will lead to your true calling and fulfillment. Another reason doors may close is that you have outgrown the situation you're in. Sometimes, without realizing it, you might be stuck in a place that no longer serves your growth. Whether it's a job that feels limiting, a relationship that is not nourishing your soul, or a routine that has become stagnant, God will close the door to push you out of your comfort zone. He knows that you are capable of more, and that staying in certain situations may prevent you from reaching your full potential. By closing the door, He is creating space for you to grow and move toward new opportunities that will challenge and stretch you in ways that lead to personal and spiritual growth. Additionally, doors close to teach you the power of trust and surrender. As human beings, we often cling to the familiar, even when it no longer serves us. We hold on to jobs, relationships, and situations because they feel safe, even if they are not fulfilling or aligned with our deepest desires. When a door closes unexpectedly, it forces you to release your grip on what is no longer working and to trust that God has something better in store. This process of surrender is essential for spiritual growth. It teaches you to let go of your need for control and to place your faith in God's plan, even when you can't see the full picture. One of the most profound lessons in life is learning that closed doors are not the end, they are the beginning of something new. When one door closes, it often leads to the opening of another, often more significant and aligned with your true purpose. These closed doors may feel like detours at first, but they are actually divine shortcuts. They save you from investing time and energy in pursuits that would ultimately lead you away from your destiny. By closing these doors, God is redirecting you toward the blessings that are meant for you, opportunities that will bring you greater joy, fulfillment, and success than you could have imagined. Another important aspect of doors closing is the timing. Often when a door closes, it is because the timing is not right for the blessing to manifest. You might be ready for the opportunity in your mind, but spiritually, emotionally, or practically, you are not fully prepared to handle the blessing. God uses closed doors as a way of delaying certain opportunities until the right time. This is not a punishment or a sign that you are unworthy, but rather an act of divine wisdom. God knows when you are truly ready to receive what He has prepared for you, and He will only open doors when the timing is perfect. In the same vein, the people and circumstances that you encounter during the closed door season are often crucial for your preparation. During this time, you may meet individuals who challenge you, teach you valuable lessons, or help you develop the skills needed for the next phase of your journey. You may encounter situations that test your patience, resilience, and faith. These experiences are all part of the preparation process. By closing certain doors, God creates space for these experiences to unfold, knowing that they are essential for your growth and readiness to receive the blessing that is coming. The process of doors closing also sharpens your discernment. When you experience a series of closed doors, you begin to develop a deeper sense of intuition and wisdom about which opportunities are truly meant for you. You start to recognize that not every opportunity that looks good on the surface is aligned with your purpose. This heightened sense of discernment allows you to be more selective and intentional about the paths you pursue. You learn to listen more closely to God's guidance, to pay attention to the signs, and to trust your inner knowing when a door is not for you. Moreover, closed doors often lead you to deeper spiritual breakthroughs. When a door closes, especially one you were hoping for, it can drive you to seek God more earnestly. In moments of uncertainty and confusion, you turn to prayer, reflection, and spiritual guidance, asking God for clarity and direction. These moments of seeking often lead to profound insights and revelations about your life, your purpose, and God's plan for you. The very process of navigating closed doors deepens your relationship with God, as you learn to rely on Him more fully and trust in His timing and wisdom. One of the most beautiful outcomes of doors closing is that they lead you to discover paths you might never have considered. Sometimes in your human planning and ambition, you set your sights on specific goals or dreams, not realizing that God has something even greater in store for you. The closing of doors can push you to explore new opportunities, new relationships, or new directions that you might not have pursued otherwise. These unexpected turns can lead to blessings and experiences far beyond what you originally envisioned. God's plan is often bigger and more expansive than anything you could have imagined, and closed doors are His way of guiding you toward those greater possibilities. The experience of doors closing is not about rejection but redirection. Each closed door is an act of divine guidance, steering you away from paths that are not aligned with your highest good and toward opportunities that are. While it may feel difficult in the moment, the closing of doors is a sign that God is actively working in your life, preparing you for the blessings that are to come. Through the process, you learn to trust in His timing, to surrender to His will, and to embrace the journey of growth and preparation. And when the right door finally opens, you will be ready to step into the fullness of the blessing that God has prepared for you. When you begin to feel uncomfortable or out of place in familiar situations, it can be an unsettling experience. Perhaps the job you once loved no longer excites you, or the social circle you've been part of for years starts to feel distant and disconnected. You may find yourself questioning your role, your sense of belonging, and even your purpose. This discomfort, though deeply unsettling, is often a powerful sign that God is preparing you for a significant blessing. Feeling out of place is a clear indication that you are being called to evolve, grow, and step into a new season of life. It's as if the life you've known no longer fits who you are becoming, and God is using that discomfort to push you out of your comfort zone. This feeling serves as a spiritual wake-up call, alerting you to the fact that the time has come for transformation. While it may seem like a season of unease, this discomfort is actually a sign that God is preparing to take you to new heights. One reason you may feel uncomfortable or out of place is that God is shifting your environment to align you with the next phase of your journey. Often before a blessing manifests, your surroundings or circumstances begin to change. The relationships, jobs, or routines that once felt comfortable may no longer serve the purpose God has for you. This is not because there's anything inherently wrong with those environments, but because you are growing and God is preparing to elevate you. Your spirit is outgrowing the space you are in, and the unease you feel is a sign that it's time to move into new territory. For example, imagine a plant that has been in the same pot for a long time. Over time, the plant's roots grow, and eventually the pot becomes too small to support its growth. If the plant is not repotted, its roots become bound, and it can no longer thrive. Similarly, when you experience discomfort in your current situation, it's a sign that you have outgrown your environment, and God is preparing to repot you into a space where you can continue to flourish. The discomfort is not a punishment, but an invitation to growth. Another aspect of feeling out of place is the internal transformation you are undergoing. Often when God is preparing you for a blessing, He works on your inner being, shifting your mindset, your heart, and your spirit. This internal growth can make your current external circumstances feel misaligned. What once resonated with you no longer does, because you are changing from the inside out. Your values, desires, and goals are evolving, and as a result, the life you've been living starts to feel like it doesn't fit anymore. This internal shift may cause you to feel disconnected from the people and situations you were once close to. You might find yourself pulling away from certain friendships or activities that no longer align with your new perspective. This sense of disconnect can feel lonely and confusing, but it's a necessary part of the process. God is creating space for new relationships, opportunities, and experiences that are more aligned with who you are becoming. The discomfort is a sign that you are being prepared for something greater, and God is removing what no longer serves your growth. During this time, it's essential to remember that feeling uncomfortable or out of place is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. On the contrary, it's a sign that you are exactly where you need to be. God often uses discomfort to propel you into action. If you were always comfortable, you would have little motivation to change or seek new opportunities. Discomfort is a divine nudge, encouraging you to step out in faith and pursue the next chapter of your life. It's a reminder that you are being prepared for something far greater than what you currently see. In addition, feeling out of place can be a sign that God is stretching your faith. When everything feels uncertain or unfamiliar, you are forced to rely more on God and less on your own understanding. You may not know exactly what's next or where you're headed, but this discomfort invites you to trust that God does. The more you lean into faith, the more you will begin to see how God is orchestrating everything for your good. He is guiding you toward a blessing that is beyond what you could have planned or imagined for yourself. During this season of discomfort, it's important to pay attention to the doors that God may be closing. Often when you feel out of place, it's because certain doors are closing in your life. These closed doors might look like friendships that drift apart, jobs that no longer feel fulfilling, or opportunities that seem to slip through your fingers. While it can be painful to see these doors close, it's essential to recognize that God is making room for something better. He is redirecting you away from what is no longer serving you and toward the blessings that are on the horizon. At the same time, the discomfort you feel might be a sign that you are being called to step into something new. God may be calling you to a higher purpose, a new role, or a deeper level of service. The feeling of being out of place is God's way of prompting you to explore new opportunities and to step into the unknown. It's an invitation to take risks, to pursue your passions, and to trust that God is leading you towards something extraordinary. While stepping into the unknown can be frightening, it's also where the most significant growth and blessings occur. Furthermore, feeling uncomfortable or out of place can also be a sign that God is working on your character. Before He can bless you with greater responsibility, influence, or abundance, He often refines your character to ensure that you are ready for what He has in store. This refining process can be uncomfortable, as it may involve letting go of old habits, mindsets, or behaviors that no longer serve your growth. You might feel stretched, challenged, or even tested during this time, but it's all part of God's preparation. He is shaping you into the person you need to be to handle the blessing that is coming. In this season of discomfort, it's crucial to embrace the process and trust that God is at work. While it may be tempting to try to force things to go back to the way they were or to cling to the familiar, doing so will only delay your growth. Instead, lean into the discomfort and allow it to guide you toward the new opportunities, relationships, and experiences that God is preparing for you. Remember that feeling out of place is not a sign that you are lost. It's a sign that you are lost. It's a sign that you are being led to something greater. Ultimately, the discomfort you feel is a sign that you are on the verge of a breakthrough. God is preparing to open doors that will lead to blessings beyond what you could have imagined. The discomfort is temporary, but the growth and blessings that come from it are lasting. Trust that God is with you every step of the way, guiding you, preparing you, and positioning you for the incredible blessings that are just around the corner. You may not feel comfortable now, but soon you will step into a season where everything aligns, and you will understand that every moment of discomfort was part of God's plan to prepare you for the amazing future He has in store for you. Feeling uncomfortable or out of place is often a powerful, yet subtle signal that change is on the horizon. It's as though the familiar world you've known, your routines, relationships, or even your sense of identity starts to feel misaligned. What once brought you comfort and security now stirs restlessness or unease. These feelings, while disorienting, can be profound indicators that God is preparing you for a new chapter, blessing, or shift in your life. What many interpret as anxiety or dissatisfaction is, in fact, a divine nudge urging you to move beyond your comfort zone. This sense of discomfort serves as an invitation from God to expand your understanding of yourself and your purpose. It's as if God is saying, you have outgrown where you are now, and it's time for something more. Instead of seeing this discomfort as a problem, it's essential to recognize it as a growth point, a moment when God is refining you for something greater. When you start to feel out of place, it's usually a sign that you are experiencing internal transformation. Your desires, values, and goals are evolving, and as a result, the life you once lived no longer seems to fit who you are becoming. The things that once brought you joy, contentment, or fulfillment may now seem trivial or irrelevant. This disconnect isn't necessarily because those things are bad, rather, it reflects the shift in who you are as you move into a new phase of spiritual or personal growth. What used to nourish your spirit might now feel empty, prompting you to seek something deeper, richer, and more aligned with your evolving self. This discomfort can manifest in various areas of life. For example, you might find yourself growing disinterested in your job, even if it once fulfilled you. It may become increasingly challenging to find meaning or satisfaction in your daily tasks. And no matter how hard you try, you can't shake the feeling that you're meant for something different. This can be a sign that God is preparing you for a new career path or a different vocation that aligns more closely with your spiritual purpose. The discomfort is not meant to make you miserable, but to alert you that change is coming and that God has something more significant in store for you. Another example of feeling uncomfortable is within relationships. You might feel as though your connection with certain friends, family members, or even romantic partners is no longer as strong as it once was. Conversations that used to flow naturally now feel forced, and you might feel emotionally distant from people who were once central to your life. This discomfort could signal that you are outgrowing those relationships, especially if they are no longer serving your growth. Sometimes God creates this distance to make room for new relationships, divine connections that will nurture the person you are becoming and support you in the next phase of your life. While it can be painful to let go of familiar bonds, this sense of being out of place can be a sign that God is preparing you for more meaningful relationships. This phase of discomfort often triggers deep self-reflection. You may start to ask yourself existential questions like, why am I here? What's my purpose? Or what do I really want in life? These questions arise because your spirit is outgrowing your current circumstances. What once felt comfortable and easy now feels confining because your soul is being called to something bigger. This process of self-inquiry can be challenging, especially if you don't have all the answers yet, but it's a necessary part of growth. God is stretching you, preparing your heart and mind for the blessings that are coming. But in order to receive them, you must be willing to leave behind the things that no longer align with your purpose. Often when you feel uncomfortable, it's because God is also shifting your priorities. Perhaps you once valued material success, but now you feel called to pursue something more meaningful or spiritually fulfilling. You may find that the things you once chased, money, status, recognition, no longer satisfy your soul. This discomfort is an indication that God is preparing you for a different path, one that aligns more closely with your spiritual values and long-term purpose. The discomfort serves as a signpost, pointing you away from what no longer serves you and towards something that will bring you true joy and fulfillment. This sense of discomfort or being out of place can also manifest as a deep inner restlessness. Even when everything seems to be going well on the outside, your career is stable, your relationships are intact, you might still feel an underlying sense of dissatisfaction. This inner tension is often God's way of indicating that you are meant for more. You may have reached a plateau in your life, and while things are stable, they are no longer challenging or exciting you. God uses this restlessness to stir your spirit, encouraging you to step into the unknown and trust that He has something greater in store for you. Another important aspect of feeling out of place is the emotional discomfort that comes with it. This could manifest as anxiety, frustration, or even sadness. You might feel like you're constantly waiting for something to happen or change, but you're not sure what that is. It can be a confusing and vulnerable place to be because it feels like you're standing in a threshold, one foot in the familiar, the other in the unknown. But this emotional discomfort is not something to fear. It's a powerful indicator that transformation is taking place beneath the surface. God is preparing your heart for the changes to come, and the emotions you are feeling are part of that preparation. In this season of discomfort, it's crucial to remember that you are not alone. God is with you every step of the way, guiding you even when you can't see the full picture. The discomfort is not meant to isolate you, but to draw you closer to Him. This is a time when you are being called to lean into your faith, trust that God has a plan, and know that the discomfort is temporary. The discomfort is not the destination, but part of the journey towards something greater. Sometimes feeling uncomfortable or out of place can also signify that God is protecting you. There may be situations or relationships that you are being moved away from because they no longer serve your highest good. The discomfort you feel could be God's way of removing you from environments that are not conducive to your growth or well-being. You may not understand it at the time, but in hindsight, you will likely see that God was clearing the path for your blessing by removing obstacles or distractions. This season of discomfort can also serve as a powerful test of faith. When you feel out of place, it can be tempting to cling to what is familiar, even if it no longer feels right. But this is where your faith comes in. Trusting in God's timing and plan requires you to let go of the need for immediate answers or solutions. It requires you to surrender to the process and believe that the discomfort you are feeling is part of a divine plan. God is not trying to punish you or make your life difficult. He is preparing you for a blessing, and that often requires discomfort, growth, and transformation. Feeling uncomfortable or out of place is not something to be feared or avoided. It is a powerful sign that you are in the process of transformation, and that God is preparing you for a new season of life. The unease you feel is a necessary part of the journey toward receiving the blessings that God has in store for you. Embrace the discomfort, trust the process, and know that this season of unease is leading you to a place of greater alignment, purpose, and fulfillment. God is at work, and the discomfort you feel now is simply the precursor to the abundant blessings that are on their way. In conclusion, the 7 signs that God is preparing you for a blessing reveal a deeper, transformative process at work in your life. Whether you're facing increased challenges, feeling called to let go of the past, encountering divine connections, or experiencing discomfort and doors closing, each of these signs points to a shift in your spiritual journey. The discomfort, the closed doors, the heightened faith, and the sense of being out of place are not signs of defeat, but rather powerful indicators that God is positioning you for something greater. When you feel tested, isolated, or uncertain, remember that these moments are often the most pivotal in your journey. God is stretching you, refining you, and preparing your heart and spirit to receive the blessings He has already planned for you. As you navigate these signs, the most important thing to hold on to is your faith and trust in God's timing. Embrace the process even when it feels uncomfortable, and know that each step is leading you toward a life of greater purpose, fulfillment, and divine blessing. What God has for you is on the way, and all of these signs are just part of the preparation for receiving it.